If you ache for truth, goodness, and beauty, if you're hungry for a Christianity with substance and strength, if you long for a faith that's big and bold and biblical and all about Jesus Christ, if you're inspired by the idea of one church that has spanned 20 centuries, 24 time zones, and 2 hemispheres, enfolding every race, nation, and language, then you're considering Catholicism. The long-awaited day has finally arrived. Pope Leo XIV just dropped his first encyclical this morning. And if you're tuned into, dialed into, plugged into Catholic circles at all, you've probably already seen 10 million posts flying around the internet about it. It's called Magnifica Humanitas, Magnificent Humanity. And it's all about safeguarding the human person in the time of artificial intelligence. Now, we've been waiting for this one for about a year now, ever since he was elected. Because right from the beginning, Leo told us why he chose the name Leo. He said he wanted to honor Pope Leo XIII and the way that that great pope stepped into the massive upheavals that were taking place in the 19th century. Back then, Pope Leo XIII gave the church Rerum Novarum. The title means on new things, the huge landmark encyclical that tackled the whole industrial revolution head on. Talked about labor and capital and the dignity of workers. It found a middle ground between socialism and industrial capitalism. It really kind of shaped Catholic social teaching for the last 150 years. Well, Pope Leo XIV, Cardinal Robert Prevost, when he was elected, said he chose the name he chose because he wanted to do something in the same spirit, but for the 21st century. He wanted to face the AI revolution, transhumanism, and everything that's coming with it. So, after a year of waiting, here it is. Now, over this last year, knowing this was coming, I taught a 12-week class at our Adult Education Academy, walking through this whole thing. How Leo XIV might pick up the torch from Leo XIII, what Rerum Novarum was all about, what it still has to say to us, and how it might give us some inklings to what to expect from this new encyclical on artificial intelligence and transhumanism and all that when it finally came. So when word came that this document was finally on its way a few days ago or a week ago that it was going to drop today, I was paying pretty close attention, as was basically every other Catholic podcaster, YouTuber, influencer, writer, whatever. In fact, just about a month ago, right here on this podcast, we wrapped up a 4-part series called Imago Dei in the Age of AI. So the image of God in the age of artificial intelligence. That was episodes 451 through 454. And I gave my thoughts. Of course, I'm not the Pope, but I gave my thoughts at that time on what AI might mean to us, its implications for humanity. And so anyway, if you missed those, you can go back, episodes 451 through 454, Imago Dei in the Age of AI, parts 1 through 4. They're still there in the feed. And, they might be worth a listen. And of course, in this age where, let's face it, all of us are trying to fight for your attention and clicks, the moment that the encyclical hit the Vatican website at whatever hour it was in the morning, the internet just lit up. And within a couple of hours, you had 10 million posts, podcast episodes, YouTube videos, social media threads, all summarizing the new encyclical, pulling key quotes from it, giving you all their hot takes and reactions. Which is all a little weird, because the encyclical is 42,000 words long. about 150 pages if you print it out. That's like a real book. And the irony is not lost, hopefully, on any of us. All of those quick reactions that came out within an hour or two or three, all the podcast episodes and YouTubes and social media takes and everything else, probably just came from people who asked an AI to read the Pope's new encyclical on AI and spit out a summary, grab the best lines, hand them a script or key talking points so they could, race to be first in your feed to get a reaction and get a click. So we all know how easy that is to do now, right? But after everything that we've already done on the Academy and here on the show, because I have talked a lot about AI and transhumanism, I've talked a lot about these issues. I'm not the Pope. I'm not as brilliant as the Pope. I don't matter at all. But we have tackled a lot of these issues on the show, in the Adult Ed Academy, on the Patreon channel, other places. So here's the thing. I'm not going to jump in with a hot take 6 hours after this encyclical dropped. Everybody else is. You probably, if you're terminally online, scrolling feeds, clicking podcasts, watching YouTubes, you probably have gotten hours and hours of info about it already. I'm just not going to do that. There's no point in me jumping into that circus right now. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm printing the whole thing out on actual physical paper. I'm sitting down with a highlighter and a pen, and I'm marking it up. I'm scribbling notes in the margins, and then I'm going to let it sit with me, or I'm going to sit with it for a bit. I want to think about it. I want to digest it. I want to reflect on it prayerfully. Because in the few paragraphs that I've already looked at and read, I'm already seeing things that are great, but they're challenging. And I just feel like there's so much pressure from all of us who do this, who podcast, who do YouTubes, who have social feeds or whatever, to compete for clicks or eyeballs or ear balls or whatever, right? And the few paragraphs I've read some things that are challenging. I feel like I need to think about. And if that means that I'm not going to be the first voice that speaks about them, well, so be it. But I need to think about them. And after a week or two, after the rest of the Catholic podcast and YouTube world has already kind of moved on to whatever the next big thing will be, I'm going to record an episode or two, or who knows, maybe even 3, and share what I see in it and what I think about it. And again, it's far be it from me to judge what the Pope says. I mean, I'm going to listen to it and then form some thoughts to share with you. And I'm also planning an interactive webinar about it, or maybe, because I think there's so much going on in this encyclical from what I can tell, a couple of interactive webinars for all of my Patreon and PayPal supporters, so that we can maybe walk through some of the ideas in this encyclical together. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, the links to become a supporter through Patreon or PayPal are in the show notes below, and it's the best way to get in on those live sessions. Which brings me to a couple of other quick updates about this show. I haven't done a live stream since Palm Sunday, and I owe all of you an explanation. First, we, meaning my wife and I and my family, have had a lot going on in our personal lives since Easter. Nothing that I want to unpack in detail for 25,000 strangers around the world, but it's just kept our family pretty busy since Easter. I have still managed to get the regular episodes out, but the extra live streams and supporter videos and coffee or questions over coffee and all that kind of stuff, just in the last since Easter have just kind of fallen by the wayside. And I'm really, really sorry about that. I'm grateful, so incredibly grateful for everyone who supports this. I literally couldn't take the time or have the resources to do this without your support. But the reality is this is only a part-time thing for me on top of everything else. And the rest of full-time life sometimes, makes itself present. And second, the other reason I haven't done a live stream since Easter is I really hated the platform that we were using for live streams. It wasn't interactive. I just was sitting in my study talking to a webcam without any real interaction with anybody. And I hated that. I'm used to standing in front of audiences for most of my career or classrooms. And so there was no energy. It felt flat. So anyway, I'm ditching that platform and starting with these new webinars on the new Encyclical in a couple of weeks. I'm going to just switch to Zoom webinars. They're not perfect, but at least I'm comfortable with them. And it'll let my supporters at least have some interactivity if you're participating in that Zoom webinar. So there'll be more opportunities to have questions and dialogue and comments and all that. And I'm thinking that we might do, if I can arrange how this would work, because we have so many people in so many different time zones with this show. And so anytime I pick, anytime during the week and any time of day doesn't work for a lot of people. But I'm thinking that I'm going to start trying to do 2 of these interactive Zoom webinars per month. And there's other platforms, YouTube webinars, this, that, but I'm kind of leaning towards the Zoom webinars, maybe twice a month. And I just got to figure out the time thing again, because we've got people in Europe and people in Asia and people in different time zones. I don't know how we're going to work out this thing, but anyway, if you're already a supporter, I hope you'll join me for these renewed webinars and more frequent webinars. If you're not a supporter, I hope that you'll click the links in the show notes and become a supporter either through Patreon and PayPal and join in with some of these webinars. Because I think the energy is going to be a little better and we're going to be able to get into some of these topics. And now that some of the other stuff in life that has been occupying us since Easter is slowing down a bit, some new stuff is starting up in our private lives, which is all exciting and all good, but it's just, there's only so many hours in the day. But I am getting back in the saddle with the questions and coffee videos and the other Patreon features I've let slide. The one thing is it finally got nice where we live, and Ed and I were able to go out to the secret compound for the first time this year, record an episode. That'll drop tomorrow. And we'll be able to get out to the secret compound, do more of those kinds of conversations and some things. So we're rolling again. All right. And behind the scenes, I have also been working on my brand new podcast, a whole separate show that's going to be called The History of Christendom. And I know that I've been teasing that for about 6 months, and I was going to record some stuff on Patreon. I'm still going to do that with some behind the scenes stuff, but I'm getting ready to start recording the first season of that show. And I'm hoping to release the first season by the end of the summer. So I'll have some more updates on that in the coming weeks. But in any case, thanks for sticking with us through the busy seasons. If you haven't yet, go and read the Encyclical for yourself. You can just find it online. Don't just read the social media summaries or the podcast or YouTube hot takes. That's what I'm going to do. And when I've had time to digest and reflect upon it, I'll share my thoughts with you right here and on the webinars. In the meantime, consider supporting the show so that you can join us for the webinars and all the other features. And because I couldn't do this without your support. This takes resources to produce and time, and so I'm so grateful for everything you do, and forgive me when I get overwhelmed. But I hope that we continue to produce stuff that helps you to consider Catholicism, to grow in your faith, and to ask and hopefully discover answers to some of the big questions. Any case, talk to you soon.
We'll be back with another episode very soon. And this show is 100% listener supported. My patrons keep the lights on, and they let me spend more time researching and recording so that these episodes keep coming. If this show has helped you, would you consider becoming a patron? For as little as $5 a month, you'll get every regular episode organized into topical playlists, plus exclusive bonus content, extra video Q&As, deep dive courses, live streams, and more. Just head to patreon.com/considering Catholicism or tap the link in the show notes. And would you please rate the podcast on whatever platform you're using and write a review on Apple Podcasts or on consideringcatholicism.com. And you can drop me a line. Patrons can comment directly on Patreon posts or Spotify. I read every one. Or you can always use the contact form at consideringcatholicism.com, or you can email me at consideringcatholicism@gmail.com. I love hearing your questions, your comments, and your stories.